everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. We were
Yay.
dancing. Good morning. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning.
Dance.
Is this how you chair dance? Are we chair dancing this morning? Okay. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, everybody.
Hello. Good morning, everybody.
Hot and steamy Rhode Island. Poor Ellen, man. Rhode Island, I usually think is pretty cool and temperate. Hot and steamy feels like St. Louis for the past week. How are you doing today, Dominic?
I'm actually very cold in here. It's
You're
cold in
very
the shop.
Because we have air conditioning, yes?
Yeah, and then like no matter where I am, it's always blasting right at me.
I know. I'm so sad for you. Hey, so clearly we are dressed up.
I could tell it in the tone of your voice. I'm so sad for you.
Okay, so as you can tell, tomorrow's a big holiday, right? And so 4th of July. Dominic, what information can you share with everyone about the importance of the 4th of July?
I'm prepared for this. You're
prepared for this question?
Okay. So we actually didn't declare independence on July 4th. It was actually declared on July 2nd, 2 days before, but like the Declaration of Independence was only published in newspapers on the 4th. So that's when most of the public knew about it. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What else?
Only 2 people actually signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4th. It was actually signed by many people in the next month. What more facts do I know?
You could just like
here we go. Go. Americans spend more than $1 billion on fireworks each year. It's a lot.
Okay. How many fingers and toes are lost? Did you know? Do we know that?
No.
Okay.
And last but not least, the Declaration of Independence was technically signed on a laptop.
Okay, wait, no. That is just blatantly not true.
No, it is
I'm
true.
going to fact check you.
It is true.
So explain.
When Thomas Jefferson drafted it, it was he used, I guess, a board or something like that was meant to fit just be bigger than your lap, and he used that as like a clipboard.
Okay.
In sorts. So
he wrote it on top of his lap. So it's a laptop.
Yeah, it's a laptop.
Okay, so that's a really bad dad joke. That's a really bad dad joke that took like a long time to get there.
It's a laptop.
It is a laptop. Okay, laptop. Okay, all right. Enough of that shenanigans. All right, let's get to the main event. So, guys, we've got a fantastic conversation starter for you guys today. We're going to talk about star blocks because as we were looking at 4th of July and everything that goes on, we're like, why don't we spend a little time learning about star blocks? I am excited. I have learned a lot about some of the star block names because I figured just a quilting block is a star. But we're going to get into it in just a second. We'll show you guys some awesome examples as well. Let's see here. Rhode Island was one of the original 13 colonies and the last colony to sign. That's fantastic. We're all learning stuff today. All right, so we're going to start, as we always do, with questions submitted by you guys. Go to cottoncuts.com/live to submit your question for us. These are sitting here when we get here. Have you seen these?
No.
No, same.
Well, now I'm looking at them.
Well, I know now we're looking at them.
Now I see them. I do see them.
You are full of stuff today. Okay. Barb from San Antonio, Texas asks, how do I calculate how much fabric I need for binding? And do you have a favorite binding tip? Okay. So how do you calculate fabric needed for binding? So it is a perimeter question. So we're going to go way back to like elementary school math. What's perimeter, Dominic?
The outside.
Okay.
No, I knew what it was. I just said the for comedic effect.
For comedic effect. Okay,
yeah.
Someone's real sassy today. Okay, so Barb, the first thing you need to do is calculate up the total perimeter of your finished quilt. So you're going to do height and length. You can do height, length times 2. Height and length. Or you can sum those together, times it by 2, add up all 4 individual numbers.
Learning.
Oh my God. So yes, so the first thing you need to do is the perimeter. And then what you're going to do is divide that number. I usually go by 40 or 42 because that's standard with the fabric. Now, mind you, this is when you're cutting binding that's going with the fabric. If you're going to do a biased edge binding, that's a completely separate topic. Go look that one up online. It's way more complicated and requires more information. But so once you get your perimeter, you're going to divide it by 40, 42, and then round it up. And that's how many binding strips that you need to cut out of a width of strip binding fabric. Now, I usually use, and this is a totally preference situation, I usually use 2.5 inches for my binding because I like something that's a little thinner, a little narrower. I know people that go up to as much as 3 or 3.5.
Yeah.
That's a picture frame, which is fine and great. It also depends on the loft of your batting, and if you've got minky in there, you might want to consider a bigger, thicker. Yes, I know you like minky a lot. This one likes minky a lot.
Minky pinky.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, great. We're doing that today. Okay, so for your binding, 2.5 inches with the fabric. And then what you do, that's how you calculate how much fabric you need. So you need the number of strips times your width, and that's going to give you the length. Usually a half yard is going to get most quilts. Once you get bigger than that, you probably need 2/3 of a yard. If your pattern doesn't tell you, then shame on them, but you can easily calculate this. And my favorite binding tip. So I watched when I was first learning how to do binding. Binding, yeah, I know, he's just full of himself today. See, they're talking about you now. Okay, so when I was first learning how to do binding, it was super terrifying to me. I had only ever done the ones where you flip them out pillowcase style, where you sew the 3 layers together like you do in home ec. And then you flip them out and you push out the corners, and that's a finished quilt. But so when I was first learning how to do binding, I found a red pepper quilts tutorial. And you can search for this online. The blog is still up. I just looked at it last week. And she does a whole tutorial on how to do binding, how to attach it using a machine, not hand stitching. I am hard pressed to find time to do hand stitching on really anything, but Red Pepper Quilts put together a tutorial on how to do binding, and most importantly, how to finish it. And so I know that's always the hardest part, is how do you finish it when you get to the end to make it look seamless and not something that was like crushed together like a ball of paper. And so her method is the way I use. We're gathering again. Okay. Her method is what I use for all of my quilts, and I love it. So Red Pepper Quilts binding tutorial, you're going to find it. Yes. All right. Next question is, do you want to, thank you, Barb, for your question, by the way. Next question is from?
Mona.
From?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Yes. Okay. So what is Mona's question?
What's the difference between nesting seams and pressing open? When should I use each method?
Okay. So Mona, I think I'm going to break your question up into some parts. So I'm going to first talk about pressing seams open. So when you see instructions in a pattern to press the seams open, what that means is after you sew 2 pieces together and you flip them open, what you're going to do is press the fabric towards its fabric. So if I have a black fabric here and a white fabric here, I'm going to press my black back to the black and my white fabric to the white. So you're going to press the fabric towards its source. And so what that's going to do is your seams are going to lay incredibly flat. I think the flattest seams I've ever made have been from seams that have pressed flat.
Or with no seams at all.
Okay. I'm just going to push you over there. So the flattest seams that I've ever had have been when I've actually pressed those seams flat. However, it is super time consuming. It is very, very hard to do. When I've done it, I've used a roller press, like one of the hand rollers, to kind of press the seams open before I press it with an iron. It does take a lot of time. They do press really flat. Now, there is a school of thought that says that by pressing your seams open, you actually could potentially be weakening your seams, because the only thing that's going to be connecting the front of your quilt to the batting is just that thread. There's actually no fabric behind it. So depending on, if your thread stretches, depending on if you snag it, you're actually going to be having some relatively big problems. Now, I mean, that's all risk management. How often do you think that's actually going to happen, where you might have a weaker seam because you pressed your seams open? Now, if you are quilting it yourself and you are, as I started out, a stitch in the ditch quilter, which is absolutely fantastic.
Wait, what does it mean to be stitch in the ditch?
Stitch in the ditch means when you quilt your quilt, you sew right along all of your seams. And so you quilt the fabric together. If you are stitching in the ditch and you've pressed your seams flat, you are going to be creating some problems for yourself. Not insurmountable, but just something to be considering when you're pressing those seams open. Now, a nesting seam means that you have on the back of your quilt is you're pressing all of that bulk in one direction. So traditional school of thought was you always press to the dark side. Why do you press to the dark side? Do you remember
Because
why?
it'll cover it up better.
Yes, because if you press the back to the darker fabric, you won't be able to see it on the front. Now, I mean, that was a time when fabric was thinner, when it wasn't as readily available. And so if you do press to the dark side, it's the school of thought was that you wouldn't be able to see it. But the advanced kind of modern way to press seams is to press them so they nest. And so you're going to get directions, and it's going to go against every fiber of your being, because you've been programmed to press to the dark side, and you're actually going to press to the light side. Because
blasphemy.
I know, it's blasphemous. Because when you sew 2 pieces together, you're going to have one side that's going to flip this way and one side that's going to flip this way, or this way. And when you nest them together, Those corners are going to be nice. They're going to nest together. The fabric is going to pull, and you're going to get perfect points.
How'd you do that?
One's going this way, and one's going. I have physical samples. We did a whole show. We did a whole show on nesting
Was it like
seams.
this?
Yeah, sure. And so the idea is that one's going to go one way on the back, one's going to go the other, and you also reduce bulk when you put thought into nesting the seams, because you're not stitching through 8 layers of fabric at a time if you're conscious in how you're nesting your seams. So Mona, I think it depends on, is it important that it is super flat? How are you going to be quilting it? And also, do you have a lot of corners that you really want those points to match? In which case, nesting seams is going to be the way to go. All right. Erin says she likes binding a quilt. Have you ever bound a quilt, or have I done all of yours? I think I've done all of his. All right. Thank you for the advice on nesting. Okay, fantastic. All right. So if you have questions for us for next week, go to cottoncuts.com/live. Submit your question.
Submit the question.
Paula will put it into the script, and we will talk about it next week. Woohoo!
Yeah.
All right. So I think most people have given StreamYard their permissions. We're able to see everyone. Hello,
Yay.
Tishua. I see she joined us.
Everyone.
Yeah. Woohoo.
Yay.
All right. And we would be remiss if we didn't follow Melissa Fieldhouse in saying, like this video, give it the thumbs up, and don't forget to give StreamYard your permissions. Yes. Stay to the end for our giveaway. We're going to give a $25 gift card to the shop for one lucky person who answers our question that we ask at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, Dominic, shall we go into what's happening in the shop this week?
Yes.
Yes. What is the very first item on here?
Okay, Mystery 50.
Yes. What's the Mystery 50, Dominic?
It's the Hawaii mystery.
Oh my goodness gracious! See, he's able to contribute. Oh, spinning seams. Gail, I'll come back to spinning seams in a second. So he's able to contribute until I actually ask him a question he might know the answer to, and then he can't be sassy about it because he actually has to contribute real content.
Then I have to think about it.
Yes. Okay. So Gail's asking about spinning seams. So spinning seams are something that's commonly used at a junction where there's a lot of fabric. So we're going to talk about star blocks in a minute. Star blocks are really good uses of spinning seams, where it's okay to have a seam that goes up, a seam that goes over, one that goes down, and one that goes to the right. And you just take out the last few, so that way the middle point where they all come together lays flat. Otherwise, you're going to get super big in bulk, and that's where in times in quilts you'll get some bumps. If you have an opportunity to spin the seams, that definitely works to help keep them flat. Okay, so Mystery 50. So Mystery 50 is a nationwide program. We've partnered with our design partners at the Mystery 50 team, and it is going to be a different mystery each quarter, which is a different quilt each quarter. So we've launched our first one.
It's a different mystery, not a different clue.
I don't know what that means.
Well,
it's a different design each time. And so our first design is called Aloha. And that Aloha is going to start shipping to you guys now. The program will start on August 4th, and it'll be weekly for a month. And then everyone, bam, has a quilt.
We're done. Yay.
Has a quilt.
We're done with the first one.
Yes. That's the first quarterly quilt. Yes.
And then there's a second one.
Yes, which is totally different design, totally different colorways, the whole bit. Jana said she got up at 5 o'clock because she wanted to get her colorway. She was worried she'd miss her alarm.
Oh, no.
Jana,
no.
We love you, Jana. Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, so the kits are on sale now. So you guys, they're over halfway sold out. Which one is now endangered? Kawela is now endangered. We only have a handful of those left, guys. So if you're on the fence about joining, or perhaps you've seen it at a different shop and you bounced over to Cotton Cuts and are learning about us, these kits are all pre-cut. So Dominic is going to show us an example of what the Mystery 50 kits look like. The band. Okay.
I have the inside.
Okay. So
I will show the cover.
Okay. So there's the top of the box. All right. So inside, okay, we're going to try and come on, kiddo. So we have some artwork and some inserts. This one, what is this, Dominic?
It's a Cotton Cuts puzzle with the Aloha symbol.
Yes. So we have the Aloha symbol in the middle. So each quarterly mystery is going to have its own puzzle. And you get to collect all 4 at the end. Oh, look, Roseanne is, she's saying you're so cute. She's not sitting next to you today. All right. Then we also have some stickers. Doop. And some more stickers.
So cute.
SEW. Ha, 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 ha. All right. Now, inside each one is a lei. It's a flower lei, right? And so this comes inside. Oh, it actually good today. All right. So what we're going to do is when you get your kits, we're going to ask everyone to put on their flower lei and take a picture and post it into the Cotton Cuts Mystery 50 group.
Yeah.
And Paula says, what is the gift? What are they getting? And then you're gonna enter to win a $25 gift certificate just by putting on your lei and posting a photo of your lei into the Cotton Cuts group for Mystery 50. That's easy peasy, man. All you gotta do is take a photo like this and I could be entered to win $25, right? Okay, so then what we want to do is we wanted to actually show you like a complete kit, just so you can get the scope and scale of what this looks like. And so I like that this orange paper actually matches this. This is, what's the name of this colorway?
Wait, is this kit actually going out to someone?
This is Kona Eclipse. It could be. These guys, they could sell out. This could be someone's kit, so we got to make sure it goes back together completely. Okay, so this one's Kona Eclipse. And so the way it works is we have 6 of these packages that have squares and triangles and strips in them of 16 different colors. And so you can see they're all packaged on top. This quilt, you guys, when we designed this one up, I was like, this one is stinking cute. People need to get in on this colorway. Dawn on our team is sewing it. She doesn't normally do Halloween, but I showed her the finished quilt and she's like, I am in. Then there's going to be 2 packages of contrast fabrics, right? Because every fabric has to have contrast, right? Yes. Contrast gives visual interest. This quilt has a stripped...
And contrast. Contrast gives contrast.
This one has, a pieced border kit. And so this is the fabric that is needed for a pieced border kit. And so, my gosh, you guys, like this package is so heavy. And then here's all the background fabrics that you're not going to have to cut because we already did for you. That is a lot of triangles.
Question.
It is 68 triangles for background fabric, guys. Okay, we definitely did a lot.
But I have a question from Ellen Ford.
What's the question from Ellen Ford?
Will there be a restock on any of the sold out stitches?
It depends, Ellen. So if it's a solid, yes. If it's a print, maybe not, because we might not have the fabric anymore. And so that's why the stitches are limited release, right? No. So when they're on the website, you got to get them because we don't get a chance to restock everything. We will restock if we can restock, but we can't always restock. Yes. Okay. So Angela's asking, how much is this kit? This is Kona Eclipse. How much was the Kona Eclipse kit, Dominic?
$150.
Yes, $150. Yes. So that $150 includes all that pre-cut fabric. The kit itself. What's the dimension on the finished quilt? Do you remember? 56 inches by 72 inches.
I was going to say that.
It was right on the tip of his tongue, right? He was so close to saying it. Yes.
You know, I wanted you to say it because I didn't I wanted to see if you knew what it was. All right. It was a test. She passed.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your confidence in me. Okay, so that's Mystery 50. So you guys make sure you're getting in on that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're participating with over 200 shops all across the United States. And so if perhaps you didn't like the colorways we put out, I'm not hurt by that. I want you to participate. So go hop and shop and see if there's another shop that has something you're looking for. I think there's only 1, maybe 2 shops that are doing things completely pre-cut, but ours are different. We've simplified the pattern to make it easier because we want you guys to sit. We don't want you to have to cut a thing. So yeah, let's see here. Our backing kits selling well? Yes, Jana, backing kits are selling well for Mystery 50. I think there's 2 that are already sold out. There might be more now. I haven't had a chance to check this morning, but 2 backing kits are selling out. So if you are interested in purchasing a backing kit, a wide back that coordinates, you got to get in, you got to get it. Make sure you get yours. Lanny, I don't know what that means. I'm going to pass that one to Paula to answer. Okay, fantastic. Are we done with Mystery 50? I love this puzzle. How many times have you put together this puzzle this week?
A lot. I've gotten really good at it.
You could do it blindfolded and backwards.
I actually did do it upside down.
All right, so next up, Tim Holtz. Like all these things going on, and we still have Tim Holtz. And Tim Holtz is in its blue phase this month.
Blue. I'm blue. Da-boo-dee-da-boo.
I was totally expecting that. I should not be surprised that that's what came out of his mouth. So we're doing blue now.
Is that the Tim Holtz there? Right there?
Yeah, this is the Tim Holtz here. Do you want to? Okay,
yes.
So can we show the people the awesome blue fabrics? Okay.
Bird eggs.
Yes. So the first up, we have bird eggs. And so they're blue, and I mean, they've got some really cool speckles on them. So this is one of the prints that's going to come in Tim Holtz. Keep it moving, kiddo. We got stuff to talk about, man.
I can't put this over here.
Find a place. Be creative, if you will. All right. Then next up, we have the regular, like these are raffle tickets. There's always a raffle ticket in every month's box. So yes. Okay. Then we also have this really cool floral print. All right, we're going to keep going, Dominic. You got it. Dominic, you got to find a solution, man. Okay, then we have a tiny repeat. And so this one's going to be fun because this one's a smaller scale print than what we usually have. We also have the postal stamps. which comes in every one. I really like blue. I know we just did teal, but the blue is very, very different. And then with every one, we always have this collage print. All right.
Make it into a laptop. I like that, Janice.
All right. So let's see here. Yeah, you need a laptop to put all this fabric on. Okay, so that's the Tim Holtz blue. They're literally being cut right now. Those are going to ship early next week to you guys because, of course, we do all the things. Michelle says that the fabric is buttery soft. Did you think buttery soft?
Yes.
All right.
Smooth like butter.
Smooth like butter. Which will feel good on a quilt, yes?
Yes.
Are the colors in the bag in the same colorway of the kit we chose? Sandy, I don't know which program you're talking about. If you can help, I can help answer the question.
The puzzle also makes a great fan.
Patricia is sweating it because she did not get the backing she wanted. It's okay, Patricia. Send us a note. We'll help you find something. No worries at all. Okay, then next up we have our Modern Maker shipping for because it's beginning of July, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
we've got to talk about. So this is super stinking cute, guys. And so we're gonna try and find space on his laptop. So if you put it on top of your lap for the Modern Maker fabrics, and I'm gonna pull all three of these at once. Dominic, watch out of the way. Okay, here we go. And so this is our Modern Maker collection for this month. Paula's putting up the link for Platinum. Platinum gives you the choice to choose whichever subscription box you want in a given month. But this is what our Modern Maker is. I think these animals are so stinking cute. There's a little hedgehog on there.
Oh,
yeah, someone likes some hedgehogs. All right, so Dominic, I need you to find a place for these fabrics, please. Paula, we're going to need some help over here. Okay, sorry, gang. We've got lots of star blocks, and so I want to make sure that nothing
There's
gets
so
mixed
much
up.
fabric.
It's almost like
So many
we have a quilting
bolts.
store, yeah? Okay.
It's
All right.
actually e-commerce, not brick and mortar.
Okay. So clue 6 for flyaway ships. When did that actually ship?
Yesterday.
Yes,
Yay.
we worked ahead, and so
It shipped yesterday. Yay.
Yes. So if you're a month-to-month detective for Flyaway, Clue 6 shipped yesterday. We wanted to get it out of the shop before the holiday because you know that the holiday is going to cause a lot of backlog, and so our team put in the effort and we got it out the door yesterday. Super awesome. Flyaway Clue 6? We're just halfway. Yay! Okay. All right. So
some could say we're 3/5 of the way.
Okay, so let's see here. So strip packs. So I know we've been talking about strip packs for Flyaway for a long time. These kits took us a long time to get together. Plus, we had the team so focused on getting the regular shipments out, we didn't have a lot of opportunity to make them, but we have, and they are now in the shop. Can you show some examples of what a strip kit looks like? Okay.
Is this it?
This is a strip kit. Okay, so inside each strip kit, you are going to get really, really long hunks of fabric like
Some could say they're strips.
Some could say they are strips. You're going to get a lot of strips, a lot of parts and pieces like this, and they're packaged like so. And so these strip kits, Paula, go ahead and put the link on the screen. So these strip kits include all of the same fabric. So unlike a lot of our products where we're trying to, not throw fabric away, keep scraps out of the waste bin, and trying to upcycle our we'll call it trash. It's actually super valuable fabric. Are usually grab bags. These are different because these are all the same fabric. And so like this one, these are all from the Flyaway Freebird collection. But as you can see, each bag is the same fabric. And so if you are patient and have an iron and want to cut long strips, you can actually get a super valuable amount of fabric out of each one of these kits. But we're doing it because, again, this is something, once we die cut, this is what's left over. And because of that, we don't want to have to throw it away. But we want to make sure that it gets put to a good use and a good home. So those strip kits are in the shop. Wow, look at that URL.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
That's a lot of slashes and dashes.
Yes, okay. So maybe we'll put the link in the comments too so you guys can click on it. But so what I showed you was Freebird. Yes, we also have this one, which is Rose Finch, right? So these are cute. I cannot wait to see what you guys are able to put together with them because I know we've got a lot of Snippet fans out of there. I know we got a lot of Stitch It fans. I know we got a lot of Bolt End fans. You guys, these are super cute. Our team put a lot of time into putting these together, and we cannot wait to see what you guys create. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
okay.
I'm gonna try and read the link.
No, please don't. Please don't. Okay, let's see here. And then clue 1 for Under the Sea is Under the Sea.
Under the Sea.
Under the Sea is going to ship on July 25th. And I know that was a question. I think Michelle Showalter asked that question. July 25th. That is coming up real darn quick, guys. I think it's like 3 weeks away, 3.5 weeks away.
Are we 3 weeks and 1 day?
3 weeks and a day away. If you have not signed up, so prepay is, we're going to shut off prepay clues, which is where you get all of the fabric all at once by the time clue 1 ships. Please do not wait. Rosie has already started firing up. We are getting Rosie churning out. We're die cutting, we are ironing, we are folding. We are chugging along, people. And so I'm super excited about 100 Under the Sea. Let's see here. It says strip packs air on website. I'm going to have Paula take a look at that. Under the Sea, how to claim. When will the pre-cut Under the Sea boxes ship? Sorry if you went over that. Erin, we have not. And so we are going to put the tracker up on the website. We are probably about 2 weeks away from shipping our first kits. And so we're going
to... 2 weeks and 1 day, because doesn't it ship on a Friday?
Well, no, we ship them as they're done. And so for Under the Sea, Erin, we're going to come up with the tracker as well, and we're going to show you how your colorway moves through the system. I can tell you guys that if you are doing Marina as a colorway, it is going to ship to you in August. We had some defects in the fabric, some delays with the manufacturer, and so we don't want to pass that on to you guys. So we're getting it fixed. We're doing it right. Those are going to come to you guys in August. There'll be an email that goes out to everyone that's doing Marina. Everything else should be cruising up here pretty soon. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Ellen is asking, when will the prepay ship for Under the Sea? Tracker is going up about 2 weeks. The first kits are going to start to leave here.
2 weeks.
All right. All right. Then the next thing we have is, so we're doing, because it's July and it's like halfway through the year. It's always Christmas in July. There's always Christmas in July things going on.
So aren't those kits on sale now?
Yes. So what we have is we have our pre-cut pillow from Christmas. We were able to add some more to inventory. And so these lovely,
it's so
can
fluffy.
you show them instead of crushing it?
Well, it's a wonderful pillow.
And so we have a pre-cut pillow kit that is on sale in the shop. Okay. Paula is saying the link is good. So perhaps, Michelle, there's a typo in the, I don't know, perhaps there was a typo in the URL. But so this pre-cut is, it is on sale. So simply go to the website and type in, what are we looking for? What are they looking for? We need more information about this, Paula. Rosa Holiday Your Way, and you'll be able to find these awesome pillows. You like this one? Tishua, actually, I think Tishua got hers for free in a giveaway. All right.
Okay, well, I'm keeping this pillow.
Okay, he's keeping it. Great. All right, and I think that's everything that's going on in the shop, because that's just no shortage of things. All right, let's move this away because we got to get to triangles.
But I'll be back.
Okay, fantastic. Let me tell you, having a teenager is an amazing experience. I am so glad it is my, he's my second.
It's a soft pillow.
All right, are we ready to start talking about stars?
Yes.
Okay, so in honor of the 4th of July happening tomorrow, we thought it was a fantastic opportunity to talk about stars as quilt blocks, because it's all, I am seeing it in my feed. There's a lot of information out there about stars as quilt blocks. And so we did some research into different types of blocks, different names of blocks, and different assembly techniques. And so we wanted to share that with you guys and give you some tips and tricks for how to demystify some of these star blocks. Now, we are not going to actually sew any blocks. We're not going to give you patterns. We're not going to give you instructions. But what we're going to do is we're going to give you enough information to be dangerous to go look at other blocks that are out there and figure out how to deconstruct them and reconstruct them yourselves. And then we have some samples. Yeah. So we'll do the samples at the end of all the different blocks, star blocks that we have. And we'll show you a Lone Star, because that's my favorite star block. And it's behind the chair. We use it every day.
We do?
Yeah. The Lone Star quilt block. It's this one right here. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I am going to ask you a favor. Can you go to my desk and get the red permanent marker, please? Okay. Yes. So first, we're going to start with the classic Sawtooth Star block. And so this one, here's the black and white version of the classic Sawtooth Star block. And so this is as simple, almost as simple of a star block as it gets. It's a slight derivation of the Tim Holtz, because the Tim Holtz version actually has some triangles that are in here. But it's a simple square with flying geese around the outside. Now, I know as a beginner, if I say flying geese, that can be a pretty terrifying word. That flying geese are something that there's this like mental barrier that flying geese are just impossible and cannot be done. So one of the things that can be done to simplify this block, if you are a beginner and if you are looking for a simple star block to do, is take those flying geese and make them half square triangles. So if you take that same block and if you make this a half square triangle, now it's much simpler, right? Because you have half square triangles and squares, which are definitely something that a beginner can sew and can sew easily and repeatably. Tishua says because they come out wonky, which is actually my very next point. So one of the challenges with stars, and I think why people tend to avoid them, is because a lot of stars have triangles that are cut on their biased edges. And so I know we had some samples hanging out around here with some biased edges, but depending on how you cut your fabric, if you're introducing a biased edge, which is a part that is cut, so fabric is grained, bias is something that's going to go at an angle, it's going to be tempted to stretch on you, which is where flying geese people have problems because it's usually a quarter square triangle. It's usually a quarter square triangle. And it's usually these are the bias edges and this is the bias edge. And so depending on how you press it, depending on how you stitch it, you can actually stretch those seams, and that's why they come out wonky. So with some deliberate effort and some intention, depending on where you want to put those bias edges, you will have challenges and problems. But if you make all these half square triangles, everyone can sew a half square triangle. And so the beauty is that by making this fabric the same, and depending on the repeat on the print, you're never going to see this seam, yet you've instantly made this much, much simpler to sew, especially for a beginner. Ah, here's these guys. Paula's awesome, man. I was talking about bias edges, and here she goes, right? So,
wow, there's diagrams now.
Yes. So flying geese are usually done with quarter square triangles. Mm-hmm. And this is a half square triangle, which is actually a much simpler piece to cut because all you're doing is putting the bias edge on one side versus on two sides. We did a whole show on bias edge triangles, so be sure to check that out. I'm sure Paula can find independent history. Let's see here. Michelle, I'm going to come back to that because I don't want to give you too much away about Mystery 5.0. Now, Dominic went through and he colored and interpreted some of these.
I spent all day doing it yesterday.
So can you show an example of what a colored classic sawtooth might look like, right? So
I
this
do not
is
have
wonky,
much artistic talent,
right?
though.
So here's something. Go ahead. There you go.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure.
Okay, they can see it. They can see it. Okay, so here's something that's a relatively traditional quilt block, the Sawtooth Star. And then here you can see Dominic interpreted it very differently. And depending on color placement, it doesn't even really look like a star anymore, but yes, it uses the same basic construction techniques. And he's able to create something that's very abstract, very color blocked, and very different. Awesome job, Dee.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next, we're going to talk about a block that's called the Ohio Star. So Ohio Star, for some reason, whenever I hear the name Ohio Star, I always think something along the lines of like the Ohio State Fair. I have no idea why. I'm a Midwesterner. I should not think that way, but I always think Ohio Star is like Ohio State Fair. Mm-hmm. And so in this, it's the same thing. It starts with the basic square block, and then it has these kind of not pinwheel, but enveloped triangles that go around the outside. So when we say envelope, it is something like this where there are 4 quarter square triangles that come together. And so I have this example, right? And so if you cut your fabric like this, the Ohio Star block, then what you're going to do is you're going to put all those biased edges on the inside of your triangles, and you're going to be able to seal them up so that way this edge won't stretch on you when you try to connect it to a square over here.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute, what?
That's like the same as, hold on. That's like the same block as this, except with a square that connects these 4 points. Yeah. It's like the same as this.
Very similar to.
But it has lines that connect.
But see, look at these ends, right? So this is where, when you're looking at triangles, the details matter. And I hate saying that, but the details, the devil is in the details, right? Right? So they both have the center square. But also, look, Dominic, the proportions in the 2 blocks are different, right?
Oh,
because this center square is the same as these edges, right? So it's more balanced in that way, as opposed to yours, which is where the center square is twice what this outer piece is.
No. But what I'm saying, can I use the red marker?
Sure.
I'm saying that it's that block, but it connects these, and it has an extra.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So again, it's all about perspective. So what he actually did, go ahead and show the people because their mind is about to be blown as much as I was. So he actually, this square, so if you
rotate
look,
it,
now it's the same.
It's the same.
Right? And so in that case, he sees the square and a square with flying geese. Yeah, Jana, absolutely right. And so in this case, right, so you could sew this, and by making this an economy block, you're actually making this quilt because here's the economy block that's already in here. Yes, Dominic, thank you so much for sharing that with everybody. So I think that's the beauty of the star, is that by just doing slight derivations, you can actually make different shapes. And so Dominic, would you like to share with everybody what your colored version, what the color? So He did
It's not nearly as grand as the last
I know,
one.
and I feel like it's a star, but it's also not a star, right?
Mhm.
It's I love that you colored in that you rotated the blue and the red. It looks awesome. All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hourglass blocks never gave me as much of a problem as flying geese did as a beginner. Yes, so my first quilt was actually an hourglass block. It was a block within a block.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a block within a block. But I think for Erin or Tishua, for me, I didn't know anything about bias edges, and so I would just sew on triangles and flip them over, sew on triangles and flip them over. And I think my innocence actually saved me a lot of headache because I put all those biased edges against the square. Let's see here. Erin is saying she loves having her kids color the color challenge cards because they see different things differently for sure. Okay, this next one, this is the Friendship Star. And so when I have seen the Friendship Star, it was like 3 years ago. Every quilt that I was seeing on social media was a Friendship Star. And I think it was probably something to do with post-pandemic. And so here's your Friendship Star. It's a wonky star, right? Because it's off center, but it's very simply constructed. And so I want to point everyone, it's the same thing. It's these half square triangles. Here, I'm gonna look at it from the back. It's these half square triangles.
It's on a
squares.
grid.
It's half square triangles and squares. It's just on a grid. This is great if you're trying to get something to finish in a multiple of 3. Most stars finish blocks that are in multiples of 4. So if you want a 4-inch square, an 8-inch square, a 12-inch square, you want to use the first 2 blocks we looked at because they're on units of 4. This is in a unit of 3. So this would be a great 3-inch, 6-inch, 9-inch, 12-inch finished block. So that's always something to look at, is that this is in a ratio of 3 across and 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. And so this is going to make a star that's best suited, easiest for a multiple of 3. You can make anything you want. If you want to deal with 7/16 of an inch, please by all means be my guest. This one's going to be easier on a 3-inch grid. Now, I have an example of a modern Friendship Star. Yes. So this is actually a coaster that was given to me at a Modern Quilt Guild meeting. We did a coaster exchange, and I think you were the one that you made coasters and got this one. And these are like 6 years later, like my favorite coasters in the world. But you can see it's just a modern. This is all paper pieced inside of here, but it's a modern Friendship Star.
It's a lot of blue and pink on that.
Yes, super cute. Love this a lot. All right. So, would you like to show everyone your Friendship Square that you created?
I went to
Friendship Star. Friendship Star. Excuse me, Friendship Star.
The simpler one on this, it's just dark green.
Yeah. So you just literally colored in the star.
Well, it feels like I couldn't think of any good way to get like a theme in, so I just decided solids were best for this.
So, okay. So sometimes you just got to go solids. What's that? Oh dear Lord.
No. Because what was the end?
Paula has said, because a solid friendship is so valuable. Which is funny. So Lincoln, my other child, is actually taking health summer school, and they're in the sex ed unit and talking about healthy relationships. So this is a healthy Friendship Star relationship. Okay. It also looks like a flying ninja to me too. It also looks like one of the ninja star. It looks a little ninja star. I do like that. All right.
Ninja starry.
It's a ninja star.
Ninja Starry Night.
This is the one I didn't know what this was called, but I look at it. It's actually the foundation for a lot of other blocks. And so it's called a Lemoyne Star. And so this is a Lemoyne Star, everybody. I had no idea this was called a Lemoyne Star. Did you know this was called a Lemoyne Star?
No.
No, I did not either. However, it's the foundation for a lot more advanced blocks, right? What the things we've been showing you so far are squares and half square triangles and some flying geese. Yeah, and you can put them in different combinations and play with different fabrics. But here is a Lemoyne Star.
It's a bit more, I'd say it's a bit more complicated than me.
It is. So this is very hard because my first instinct is going to be to want to make some half square triangles. But as you can see, like this edge does not quite match up. Right? Southern tissue is saying they're also called Southern Stars. That's something we found as well. Like quilt blocks have like 16 different names. Tissue, it's actually super hard. I would say, because I called it an economy block, but it's also a square within a square. And a monkey's wrench is also called a snail's tail. Like all these blocks. Let's see here. Yes, so here's the Lemoyne Star, right? So this is challenging because it's not on a traditional quilting grid. As you can see, these lines are not going to connect up over here. And so the way that the Lemoyne Star is traditionally sewn is it is sewn in strips. So you do all of this kind of feather, and you do all of this feather, and then you do all of this
so you
feather.
you do
all of that feather, right?
You do 8 feathers and then you sew them together?
Yes, you do 8 feathers and then you sew them all together around the center pieces, right? And so this is a common construction technique for like a lone star. And so lone stars are more advanced. There's a lot more detail on the inside of here. We're going to show you one in a minute, but it's sewn by section. So you're sewing this section, and this section. Now, when you are doing this, I've talked about bias edges, and we fortunately had an opportunity to talk about seam allowances at the top of the show. So as you said this, as you sew this piece together here, that's a bias edge, that's a bias edge, that's a bias edge, and that's a bias edge. So you've got lots of bias edges in here. And you've also got a lot of seams, which are opportunities to stretch those bias edges. So this is a design that if you're choosing this star, starch is going to be your friend. Flat seams, pressing seams open are going to be your friends as well. Otherwise, you are going to sew all these pieces together. You're going to sew this to this to this, and this piece right here is going to parachute out through the quilt. It's going to want to come at you, and it will not lay flat, and you're going to be real sad because this is a lot of work for a star. This is a lot of work for a quilt block. It's a lot of work for a quilt, and it is not going to lay flat.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yes, I know. And so because I had one that did not turn out well, when I made my Lone Star, I definitely learned a lot. And so I feel like that's one of those things that after you kind of bump into a wall, you learn how to do it better. And so this is Lemoyne Star is one that I have definitely evolved and learned how to do better.
For the for the Lemoyne Star, for these like diamonds, I would have done too. These.
So you could do that, right? So depending on your fabric choice. And so, right, so I stitched on here if I wanted to make half square triangles. You can see it's not an easy half square triangle design. You could, cut here and make equilateral triangles if you want as well. There's a lot of different ways depending on how you cut this.
I'm thinking you get like one long strip of fabric that the length is from here to here, and then you just get like a whole bunch of them side and then like on top of each other.
So he
mass produce it.
He is doing foundation paper piecing without realizing he's doing foundation paper piecing. And so he wants to lay a piece of fabric here and then stitch another piece of fabric onto here and then trim it to shape. So he is foundation paper piecing without knowing he's foundation paper piecing.
No, that wasn't what I was saying. I was saying you get like a very long strip of fabric.
Okay, I got a long strip here. I got a long strip of fabric.
Now let's pretend this distance is the same as the distance from this point to an imaginary line drawn here.
Okay.
And we're gonna need a whole bunch. We're gonna need a whole bunch of these triangles, because if there's the imaginary line, we're gonna actually stitch there, and then we get a whole bunch of these triangles. We need how many? 16.
Okay. All right.
So then we like cut them on top of each other because the angles are the same.
So what we will do is we will have Dominic sew this. We will video him doing this, and we will see how it works. Right, Paula? Is this a great idea? Okay. So we're gonna see Dominic's creativity in stitching the Lemoyne Star, which is legitimately a hard block to do. I want to see you test this method because you might invent an easier way to stitch the Lemoyne Star than people have thought of before, and I would be excited and here for that. So let's test your method, okay?
Yeah.
All right, can you show everyone the one that you colored for us, please?
Yeah. This one's also really good.
Yeah, so like check this out. So one of the things that I like about, giving Dominic these blocks to color is that the use of negative space, right? And I feel like we oftentimes get stuck as quilters thinking that the only prints we can use are in the main piece and that this has to be some sort of neutral, right? And so I feel like, right, by using a neutral on the inside, this design pops so much more. The star is right there. And the outside is not just a single color. And I know that when we're looking at these prints and we print them out, it's so easy to get stuck in a world where that outside has to be a single color. But here's an example of 2 Lemoyne Stars where you flip the outsides and all of a sudden the design takes on a whole new personality. So Dominic, this is fantastic. This is really good, right? And I just want to encourage everyone when you're picking out your blocks and you're picking out your background, that you're also looking at alternates to make perhaps a negative where the background is dark and the star, the design element, pops out. It actually makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I included a white space because I couldn't think of another color that would fit well there.
I mean,
Mhm.
okay, so that's Dominic's tip for the day.
Yeah.
If you can't think of another color that's going to fit, just use white.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I love this tip of the day from you.
It's a neutral.
It's a neutral. It's a neutral. Okay. So ultimately, when you're looking at star blocks, right? And so we have a couple other ones here, right? Then they get pretty wonky, but the concept is all still the same, right? So these are still flying geese. These are still, you can make that a half square triangle, right? It's all built on the same foundational elements. And so you can just get triangles and squares together and just play with them. Here's our economy block back again. Here's our flying geese, but it just has a strip in it that makes it just a little more complex. Here's our 4-patch up here in the corner.
This one's the most complex star.
No, this one's actually really easy. I would say this is easier than the Lemoyne Star. Do you guys think this one's easier than the Lemoyne Star? It's called, if you want to search the internet, it's called a variable star. What do you guys think? Variable star or Lemoyne Star?
There's so many different shapes in it because it is like the star,
the economy. Yeah.
Like our first two.
Mm-hmm.
But then it has the added challenge of the background.
Okay. So my question for you, Dominic, is so you think your contention is that this variable star is more complex than a Lemoyne Star?
Yeah,
because Texas
well, no,
Lone
because
Star.
it has a Lemoyne Star in it, and then what would be like one single triangle here is now 2, and then you've got to sew them together, and then there's 3 shapes in each corner instead of 1.
So I guess that's a philosophical. Let's see here. Variable looks easier, Jen is saying. So I guess it's a philosophical question. So Dominic's position is that it has more parts and pieces, therefore it must be more complex. Yes?
Yeah.
So Terry is saying that you can make a Lemoyne Star with squares and half square triangles. I think there's some modifications to the star to make it a little bit more uniform, because then it becomes more of a traditional sawtooth. But the Lemoyne actually is stretched, so it's more diamond-like versus it's a longer diamond. Love Dominic's facial expression when he feels a little differently. All right. Tishwa says she'd rather do the Lemoyne too. Yeah, I feel like this one's easier.
No,
okay.
It's not. You have many different shapes. More shapes.
Okay. Then we've got this guy. So this one's commonly called Star of David. Sorry. We're gonna see Dominic's variable. So how did you color up this lovely one? Ha ha. Now again, this is not a color palette I like that you like we're looking underneath. This is not a color palette that I would have selected, but I do love this here, and I love that you picked black as your squares in the corners.
They're technically brown, but they look black enough with the gray background.
Yeah. This is quite pretty. This would be, so you know what this reminds me of? This is Frank Lloyd Wright-esque. This is kind of what you would expect to see at like Taliesin or at Falling Waters. This is very Frank Lloyd Wright-esque, and I love it. Well done, Dominic.
Yay.
Okay, shall we get to the last one?
I colored.
When's the last time you used markers to fill in? Okay, so we've got a Star of David. Okay, so this guy could potentially want to trip someone up. I mean, it's commonly called Star of David, but it is used in other purposes. So when you see this, and you want to do it, most kind of traditionally and straight up, English paper piecing is probably what your mind would go to first for stitching this block. It has to be English paper pieced, because I'm going to put fabric around this hexagon, and I'm going to do.
It has to be English.
And you might think that that's the only way to get this done. And so if you don't know how to English paper piece, this might be a star that might be too far outside your comfort zone. However, I am going to show you that it is actually only slightly different from what we have, because if you try to traditionally paper piece this, you might get stuck in a mindset that says that it has to be, there's Y seams, which again are a scary word for lots of people, that you don't want to have to do anything that has Y seams. And then if it has to be English paper pieced or foundation paper pieced, it can't be done.
Wonderful diagram.
Wonderful diagram, you say. Okay. And so here is a derivation of a way to potentially get it done that does not involve Y seams, that can be done on a traditional paper, that can be done traditional piecing method, but yet will still achieve the Star of David that you're looking for. And it uses the same thing. So these are slightly half rectangle triangles and squares. It's got, what is this shape here in the middle? Can you tell me what this shape is?
It's that one.
What's it called? That one right there.
That's a trapezoid.
It is a trapezoid. It has trapezoids, which might seem scary, but actually aren't. And it's more just a matter of making sure that your angles are the same, but you've got a trapezoid, you've got some equilateral triangles, and you've got some half rectangle triangles, right?
Yeah.
So it can be done. It's just a matter of taking that like big star that you want to make, and how can you break it up into sections that are easily manageable. And so my good friend Sheila Christensen actually made a whole book on this called Quilts with an Angle. And her contention is that you don't have to have Y seams to sew any star. Any star can be made without Y seams. And so when you see this kind of design and you're like, it's too hard. I have to be able to English paper piece and that's not for me. Or I have to foundation paper piece and that's not for me. Most stars can be traditionally pieced without any Y seams. It's just a matter of where you cut and where your fabric choice will allow for seams to go. All right.
Yeah.
Is that everything? Oh, you did color the Star of David for us.
No, actually Lincoln did.
Okay, so Lincoln colored
so I
this
enlisted
one.
his help.
It almost looks like a sheriff's badge a little bit too, yeah? Yeah. Kind of Wild Westy theme. But yeah, so this is Dominic's choice for the Star of David. Well done. Or excuse me, Lincoln's choice for Star of David. Okay, so as promised, we have some examples to show you. So we have got some blocks here. Under all of our coloring papers, we've got some blocks to show you.
Wait,
Okay.
I have more stuff that was colored.
No. Here we go. We're going straight to these guys. Okay, so what we have here, so this is a Tim Holtz block. I know many of you have sewn these and love these. These are a modification of the Sawtooth because as we saw with the Sawtooth, a traditional Sawtooth has a square in the middle, and I'm going to show it up. That's actually pieced. And so that's the like pinwheel-ish type element. And oh, hey, I've got spinning seams as an example. I am so sorry I didn't show this earlier. But that on the back is an example of the spin seams. And so the idea is with all of these seams coming together, that's a lot of bulk in fabric. And so by spinning those seams, it's actually going to lay flat. And that's going to lay flat and it's going to be nice and easy. It won't be a bump on your quilt. So this is a modified Sawtooth, right? And then we have, so this is, okay, so here's where we get into the like Lemoyne versus Sawtooth, right? And so it looks like it could be a Lemoyne, but is it?
No.
Because this is closer to a Sawtooth design, because of this is right triangles here versus the Lemoyne, which is, oh my gosh, I'm trying to do this backwards, guys. Thank you so much for your patience with me as I'm doing this. But the Lemoyne, this diamond is actually more stretched. And so it's not going to be a half square triangle here because that diamond is so stretched. But it is another derivation of the Sawtooth that looks like Lemoyne, but is actually not Lemoyne. Yeah.
Were you about to say Des Moines, like
Des Moines, Iowa, Ohio Star. Again, it's all
Des
Midwest
Moines.
today. All Midwest today. And then, of course, we've got this block, which we can call a variable block, right? We can call it a
isn't
variable
that like
star.
what we did in the
This is the Mystery 5.0. Yeah, we sewed this block for our AI video. Did that go well? Nope. Nope. The AI is still not going to replace human designers on this yet. So this is a variable. I would call this variable because it mixes shapes together, and it is kind of a traditional Sawtooth, but it is also a little different. All right. Erin is saying this is why we don't skip geometry, so you can pick out the trapezoids. All right, and so we've got the Lone Star. Dominic is going to figure out a way to hold this up. So this is a Lemoyne, but Lone Star is of course more advanced. So we can actually we'll do this so you guys can see it. We'll just hide Dominic for now. But so yeah,
it's very dark back here.
The Lemoyne has this elongated piece, and it's put together this piece on top of this piece on top of this piece, and that's how it is assembled together. All right,
I'm keeping
you
it.
good?
Yep, I'm
You
keeping
can keep it. Actually, we keep it in the car and use it for soccer all the time. Okay, Dominic, did we cover everything? Did we get all of our lists?
giveaway.
All right, Polly, did we cover everything? All right, fantastic. So in order to be entered, thank you guys for hanging with us. And I hope we've given you enough to go search and that you might have learned new things that you hopefully didn't know before, and you can go find more
The more
information.
you know.
The more you know.
Food for thought.
Food for thought, yes. Okay. So what we're going to do is find this video wherever you're watching it, on Instagram, on Facebook, or on YouTube, and you're going to answer this question to be entered to win a $25 gift card from the Cotton Cut Shop. What's
the tube book?
I don't know what that means.
Instagram, YouTube,
and Facebook. Okay. So of perhaps the stars that we've shown you, or perhaps a star block that you've made previously, what is your preferred star block to make in a quilt and why? Bonus points if you are in our Cotton Cuts fabric group. We want to kind of see the stars come out this weekend for 4th of July. So if you are in our Cotton Cuts fabric Facebook group, post a picture of a star block that you've made, and we can kind of flood our Facebook group with star blocks this weekend. Does that sound great?
Mhm.
Yeah, we can take pictures and post some stars that we've made.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So to enter to win the $25, answer the question, which star block is your favorite and why? And then go this weekend, go to our Facebook group and post all the star blocks you've made, and we'll just flood the feed with all of them. And Paula is running over to tell me something. Oh, yeah. Okay. And so Paula is making sure that we remind everyone about Under the Sea. Clue 1 is shipping on July 25th. Mystery 50 is shipping now. Get your kit before they're gone. And to take a picture with your lay to enter them in a $25 gift card. Did we get everything? We got all of her stuff and we got all of our stuff, yeah?
Yep. Okay.
Alrighty, gang. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you guys had a good time. You know, we're gonna have a great weekend this weekend. I hope you guys have a very happy and a safe 4th of July. Enjoy your day off tomorrow and the weekend ahead. I hope it's nice where you guys are weather-wise and you can enjoy the outside. Yeah.
Yes, I hope we enjoy it, not burn.
Okay. That's fantastic. Thank you guys so much for hanging with us. Have a great week and we will see you soon.
Because it's
Bye
so
now.
hot outside.
And cut. Thank you so much for watching our video. We have so much fun making these, and we hope that you were both delighted and inspired by what you just watched. This video was sponsored by Cotton Cuts. Cotton Cuts is your one stop for all the best fabric and thread memberships. Love fabric? We've got you covered. Love thread? We've got you covered. We get that no two quilters are cut from the same cloth, which is why our memberships are as unique as you. We also have the largest block of the month in the world. Over 4,000 detectives solve our puzzle mystery quilts every year, and you can join them. Simply go to cottoncuts.com to learn more about all the awesome and fun things that we're doing. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to make sure you get all of our new fresh content every time it comes out. Thank you so much. Happy sewing enthusiasts, and we will see you soon. Bye now.